God, look who it is.
Lady O'Mary. Welcome.
She flew in on her private
I literally flew in.
And
Look
that
at my
dress pops.
Oh, thank you.
Is this like neon orange or something?
It should be.
I don't think you've done
Like
this
reflector
color.
orange.
No, not in a while. Not in a while. I know, not in a while.
All right.
I used to have another one, but it's a size small.
Really? Really? Do you want to start talking about sizes right now?
But
Be
yeah,
my
I
guest.
don't want to start. I don't want to talk about sizes.
Be my
right now.
guest.
Yeah, don't worry. You're gonna snap back.
yeah, exactly. She's gonna snap back.
I'm
She
not-
already
I'm not
looks
crazy
snapped
about-
back without.
I'm not crazy about snapping back. Don't worry.
Really?
You're loving the
Oh, that would be nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh my. You know, for many people, motherhood is something special, while for some people, it's something they do not want a part of. And for many reasons. On the one hand, there's what we were discussing earlier in China, where people are literally being begged, dragged, threatened to have children at least. You imagine calling a single woman to ask when she's going to get pregnant. They're not even bothered about you getting married. Just give babies to the country. And on the other hand, you have a child, and then the child is calling the police on you for some. In fact, let's take it one by one.
So let's even backtrack to the China one. That one, it felt very personal. Like, okay, you work in a company, and then the company is saying you have 6 months to get married. This is coming on the tails of decades where China had a one-child policy.
Exactly.
Where the female children were actually being sent to orphanages because they weren't allowed to, no family was allowed to have more than one child.
Yeah,
one
and
child,
everybody
yeah.
wanted a son.
Imagine that. So there are not enough women.
Yeah.
Just imagine not having enough women to...
So if you're a woman and you're not saying you don't want to get married, they're asking you, are you sure? You're all right?
So, it's when you look at the numbers and the charts and the graphs, we saw that video online where the number of the population was just dipping like that. Death rate was going like that, and birth rate was going like this, and you were like, okay, now they're seeing how big of an issue it must be. But at the time, they were having a serious overpopulation crisis.
It was actually huge.
Yeah.
It was huge.
It was crazy.
I recall then, it used to be a joke that when people had too many children, locally here, people would say, hey, you can't survive in China. That I remember hearing that when I was in school. People would tell people with many children or siblings they can't survive in China. So that same
So
China.
my thinking now is, okay, now let's bring it down and just imagine for a second that that kind of thing happens in Nigeria.
A company should
right?
say,
A company should actually say, if you actually don't get married within the next 6 months, you're fired. So I'm actually trying to think of how the typical Nigerian will react.
Typical Nigerian would get married the next day.
Are you sure about that?
I know
So
this
that's the thing.
because of COVID.
Oh, okay.
The unfortunate thing is many companies mandated their staff to get shots during that period.
Okay, well-
Now we're hearing a lot of stuff about the COVID vaccine and all. Many that I struggle to believe because I'm like, seriously, how is that
Yes.
possible? However, many people would not have had those shots if they weren't made to do it.
By
Very
their
true.
companies.
Very
So that's why I'm like, it's likely people will get married the
So I
same
guess because of
weekend.
the economic situation,
Yes,
people don't
nobody
want
wants to lose
out
their
of
jobs.
job,
Yeah.
Which is
and all
worse.
of that. And these days, people are even less emotional about the whole marriage situation.
Yeah.
So I mean, if the company actually allows them to marry into a company,
Yeah,
they will just
okay.
run it now. I know that is
But
contract.
think about this. Think about the costs of being in a bad marriage versus the cost of being fired. So the cost of being in a bad marriage means your emotional well-being, your mental health, sad situation for the children, and then maybe financial challenges as well within the marriage. And then if you get fired, you can always get another job.
You can imagine
So
getting
forcing me to get married versus firing me.
Staying alive till 90 years old is a reminder that if you get married in your 20s, you're going to live with that person times 4
Wow.
of your life. Let that sink in.
Exactly.
So,
Now, so that's if you have that mentality now.
Yeah.
So we need to actually understand that people are actually at the points where they're not thinking long term anymore when it comes to
Thinking
marriage.
just
And yes, like I remember, so that's even when you even find somebody you love the person for a number of years, right? People are just thinking, okay, get married for the now, the way we feel now, and then eventually things will happen. But now there's actually even a new trend where people are actually getting married not even getting married, getting into contracts, agreements, just for companionship for a stipulated period of time. If this period of time actually works, will now consider moving it and extending
So you know
it.
there used to be a
Which is
tradition like that. It's called hand fast.
Seriously?
Where, a man and a woman will come together for a year and a day. And if it doesn't work out, they go their separate ways. Yeah.
Wow.
Isn't that just,
Before they now get
isn't
married.
that just dating?
Yeah, like they live together as husband and wife for a year and a
okay.
day.
Wow.
And if it's called hand fast. Yeah,
Now,
I remember.
I'm thinking about the kid you mentioned earlier on rather. You said, you talked about the fact that he called the police for his mother. Now, this particular video, the police, obviously 911 pick up the phone and they're like, okay, where's the emergency? And he said, my mommy is being bad. Being bad, okay. Now, this could mean a lot of things to the American police. Remember, if you hear my mom is being, it could mean drugs, could mean a weapon, could mean physical abuse, could mean so many different things.
Yes.
Could mean she's robbing a bank, but guess what? It's because she ate his ice cream.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
the
now imagine a
police
Chinese
response.
lady seeing that and they're saying you must have children. Someone that doesn't want to have children.
Imagine opening the
The
door.
police
and
respond.
so
They came.
it was they did. They
came.
They have to.
They did.
They have to respond to a child. Yes, a child
My
picking
mommy
up the
ate my
phone.
ice cream.
My mommy being bad, Loso, being
Okay,
bad.
so when it got there, they
It's when it
realized.
got-
Said
Okay.
she
It wasn't about the ice
So it
cream
wasn't
on
about
the phone.
okay on the phone. Okay.
And
Understandable.
then there was a time part of that conversation where he actually said she hit me, she hit me, and then the police officer said, "Are you sure it's about the hitting or it's about the ice cream?"
Do you
He
understand?
said, "Yeah, she took my ice cream. She took my," and I was trying to think of how many different ways I could, use my hands. Oh gosh!
So as much
My
as
hand
yes,
was
that,
itching.
as much as that is the situation, right? I just want to I'm impressed by the awareness of the child, knowing that fine, you could call the cops and then this will happen.
Yeah.
However, now you actually said it, right? When they got there, they realized it was about the ice cream. But
Yeah.
the kid at some point literally said, "Oh, she hit me."
Yeah.
So now that is now like, okay, fine, what extent do kids actually go to, I don't know,
Get attention.
get attention or get something done to someone doing something they don't like, even if the thing, and probably lie about it,
Yeah.
even if like it's not something illegal.
One of our colleagues who moved to the UK, I think about 2 years ago, his baby then, when they got to the UK, he was like, you know what, he changed. The child just changed because they had no authority over him anymore. Yes, they have authority as parents, but then they couldn't touch him because when you newly move to the UK, apparently there's visits from social workers that come
Yes,
to the
of course.
house.
Besides
And if
that,
he
even-
should say
Even
anything,
your neighbor is a social worker on your
just
behalf.
imagine if he should say ha, my parents did ha, or mommy did ha, or say it's paining me or it's hurting. That's a major issue.
But I still believe that can be controlled, even if you're there.
I mean, it depends on
be
the way
honest.
you've been raising your child. And that's why I
Exactly,
tell
from
people,
here.
if you start beating your child here,
Yeah.
if you decide to relocate,
Yeah.
how are you going to control the child?
yeah, so
Beating
maybe
doesn't help. There are ways you can still get a child to do what you
what
want
you need, yes,
without lifting a
beating.
finger.
Very true.
Oh,
That even
goodness
the
me.
day you finally spank the child
child
self will
will-
say,
Ah,
thank you
this
for
one.
spanking me.
Actually, very true. Very, very
Yeah,
true.
oh wow, but
Your mom will take the money they gave you.
I think
And then you now say, hello, please, my mom is being bad.
Mama,
She took my ice cream. Oh, new water. You will not finish the story.
but you know what? We'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yes,
What would
we
you
would.
do in these particular situations at work and at home? Use our hashtag #WakeUpNigeria on TVC and let us know.
Let us know.
Yeah, we're taking a break now. We'll be back after this.